I'm tatocat. Welcome to my channel. Today we're playing Lucid9. Last time we played, we made a choice, but got us some better results, and we were able to see Rui. Ryota is giving us some weird choices, and apparently we're going to punish people. And he gave us the choices of Rui and the skeleton or 2 students. Okay, that's where we left off. Let's continue. So, nobody really told me what to do, so I'll make my own choice. We're going to go with the character. The character said that he couldn't bear seeing Rui hurt, so we're going to choose 2 students. I try to speak, but it comes out as a croak. Desperately, I clear my throat and try again. Let's work on the 2 other students. The reactions are immediate. Ryota's face lights up in a manic smile. Rui's jaw drops. The other 2 students explode. You bastard, you damn bastard, I can't believe you. Wait a second. Is he crying? Why does it look like he's crying? Is it because he's wearing a green tie and he hates green? Please don't hurt my sister, don't hurt me. Oh, they're brother and sister. Oh. The thing happened. This makes me freeze. Brother and sister. I silently watch as Ryota gleefully skips over to the chairs, dragging the 2 students over. Rui gasps breathlessly. Brother and sister. The cruelty will never end. I swear if you lay a finger on my brother. Ryota stops abruptly. The momentum throws the girl against her ropes, temporarily choking her into silence. Isn't she just so darling? I picked her up out specifically for you, boy. Did you? Oh yes, and she gets to be yours. My mind runs blank as the girl glares at me, hate burning clear in her eyes. You're disgusting. And I say nothing. It vaguely dawns on me that I should direct her anger at the serial killer, at the psychopath who orchestrated this entire thing. But can I really? I still had hope that they would go unscathed, that only one person would have to suffer rather than 2. I crushed that hope, the last hope they ever had. And now, they'll die for it agonizingly, with nothing but despair. Instead, my reply is automatic and empty. I'm sorry. I fully expect her to spit in my face, but she only turns her head away. Hisao, look at me, Hisao. The terrified boy locks eyes with her, face doused in a mixture of tears and sweat. It'll be okay, do you understand? It won't be. It'll be okay. I look at Ryota, expecting him to slap her into silence, but he only leans against the wall, grinning like he's having the time of his life. Of course, he must be having a field day. The pleasure of pain brings him more joy than death itself. I get the sudden urge to laugh, and I don't know why. Yama? The airy voice from the corner reminds me of Rui's presence. She's staring quietly at the scene before her, face bleached white. You're not going to hurt her, are you? Guilt, terror, regret, anguish. We must both be feeling their full effects. Close your eyes, Rui. She stifles a quiet sob. I turn to Ryota. Now that everything's set up, I need you to untie Rui. You know I can't do anything to you while you still have that knife, and neither can she. And neither of us will leave the other person to die either. Only because you're teacher's pet boy. He stalks over to Rui's chair and cleanly slices at her bonds. She promptly clasps her hands together, breathing deeply. Don't run, Rui. He'll kill both of us. I won't. I turn back to Ryota, hands sweaty against the fabric of my jacket. So, what are the rules of the game? Oh, it's quite simple. He strides behind the teacher's desk and pulls something out underneath. My heart drops. 2 metal pipes, around 3 feet in length, rough around the edges. He rolls one to me. I automatically stoop down and pick it up. We'll take turns inflicting blows on our disciplinees. Good solid blows that make a nice musical sound. The first discipliner who knocks out or kills their disciplinee loses. The boy bawls at this point. Even the girl is shocked into silence. The first person to fall unconscious means a loss, which means I have to inflict pain without the promise of comfort. If I want to win, or at least not lose, each blow needs to be felt by their conscious minds. And in that moment, I'll be just like Ryota. Oh, don't give me that, base boy. Be glad I didn't pick the knife. I mean, I'm pretty tempted to, but then you'd probably laugh, and that's just boring. Something like this needs to be remembered. So, are we ready to begin? No, I'm certainly not ready. I'll never be. I shift the pipe in my hand, feeling its weight. It's hefty, sturdy. Could easily break bones, probably shatter a skull. And it's in my hands. I'll go first. Watch and learn. He stands over the boy, gripping the pipe tightly in one hand, keeping the knife in the other. I watch, transfixed, even while everything in my brain is screaming for me to turn away and close my eyes. The boy whimpers quietly, eyes wide, squirming about the crude ropes that bind him to his chair. Ryota smirks quietly at him and ruffles his hair. Not gonna lie to you, kid. This is gonna hurt like hell. No. Ryota races the pipe, painstakingly slow, reveling in the drama of the moment. I might have laughed if the situation wasn't so sick. 3, 2, 1. Oh. He whips the pipe down, but it's just an inch away from the boy's kneecaps. He stops. Safe. The boy releases a great shuddering gasp, shoulders dropping in relief. Then, without a moment of hesitation, Ryota lifts the pipe and brings it down. Oh, that sounded so bad. Good choice in sound effects, because it sounded really gross and unpleasant. Crack goes the bone against metal, and the air splits from the impact of a horrifying, agonized scream, punctuated by a shrill screech of metal as the base of the chair grinds against the ground from the force of impact. The boy is still screaming as Ryota steps back, an expression that I've never seen before dawning on his face. We saw that expression before. Oh, beauty, true beauty, how poignant is your sting. He giggles quietly at himself as the boy rides against his chair, leg forced into an awkward angle. Is what it says? Damn it. This can't go on. I realize it quietly through the empty shock as my fingers tighten around the pipe. I can't let this go on. Is there a way to outthink this situation, anything at all? When it's needed most, my mind fails me. Well, your turn, boy. 4 students, including me, 4 lives at stake, 2 thrusts in the middle of terrible suffering. I originally came with the intention to just grab as much time as I possibly could. I thought I could prevent a death, maybe 2. But there's no sign of the police, not even the slightest indicator that they'll come at all. And now, death is looking like the best option. To buy time, I have to draw out this game, causing as much pain to this girl as she can bear, while the boy suffers beyond description, And if the police don't come, we still end up dead. I can crack this girl's skull, give her a merciful end, and then I lose, and Ryota unleashes his knife on the rest of us. Or, if I move really fast, I can maybe put an end to both her and her brother, in which case, it'd only be down to Rui and me. No, Shigure said she would come. She swore she would come. She said, she promised, she told me. Stop dallying about, boy. We haven't got all day. It's night. Hit the girl. Attack Ryota. Stall. Okay. If I attack Ryota, I'll probably die. I feel like if I attack Ryota, I'm going to miss, and he's just going to slit my throat or something. And then Rui also dies, and everyone dies, and no one's happy. I hit the girl. I feel like it's too easy. If I hit her, she's like going to pass out, and then I'll lose, and then we all die. So I'll stall, because I'm here to get time, right? And that is his purpose for being there, and that is what he said he's there to do. Because if he hits her, he'll kill her, and then we all die. If I hit him, we all die. So, let's stall. Pipes, don't you think it's a little, I don't know, dated? Just because something is old-fashioned doesn't mean it's bad. Hit the girl, attack Ryota, or stall. I wonder how many times I can stall. Let's stall again. I don't see what you mean. Sure you do. Never been an avid fan of change, have you? Hit the girl, attack Ryota, stall. Let's try again. I mean, he hasn't yelled at me yet? So, you're saying that I'm stuck in my ways? We all have natural tempo. Nothing wrong with that. Did the girl attack Ryota, stall? Stall? I think he'll yell at me if he gets too impatient. That's certainly a positive outlook. I know what you're trying to do, kid. Cut it out. Make your choice now. He yelled at me. Okay. So our options are hit the girl, attack Ryota, stall. He has definitely sounded angry, so I'll just hit her now. Oh, I don't want to. Because I think if we stall, he's going to kill us at this point because he's mad. And we'll fail if we try to attack him. He also has a pole in his hand too. So he has a knife and a pole. So, hit the girl. Oh, that just sounds awful saying out loud. In a situation like this, it seems like everything the only option is to go with the flow. I automatically step forward, knuckles turning white as I raise the pipe. Shigure said she would bring me the police. Shigure needs me to buy time. Buying time means abiding by the game, drawing it out, pain without mercy, conscious damage. Yama, please. Close your eyes. The voice that comes from my mouth is cold and blank, nothing like my own. So far I've been making you pretty monotone this entire time, as best as I can. I keep my eyes open as I swing the pipe down, knowing that I'd only endanger the girl further if I close them. I see the pipe descend. I see the girl's eyes widen. I see... Oh... Arg. I don't know how to say that noise. The vibration rocked from the tip of the pipe up through my arms to my eyes, which rattle in their sockets. I feel the impact of her arm giving way beneath my own hands. Something in me, something that I hadn't known was there, slinks away into the shadows, gone forever. The girl gasped for breath as her brother burst into tears. No. A brother, a sister, doomed to die. I step back, hands shaking uncontrollably. Ryota only throws back his head and laughs. Oh yes. Yes, that's it. I was worried for a moment, thinking that you'd pansy out. But you mean business right now, don't you? There must be something, some other way, some advantage, something that doesn't involve this. I stilled myself, keeping my eyes fixed on the girl before me. Faking shock? Maybe. I can't see that I'm really faking. Meanwhile, I let my mind cast about the room, mentally recalling every sensory memory that it shelved away as I entered the classroom searching for some miraculous solution. The door sprung open beneath my touch as I stepped into the classroom, my figure enveloped in the nighttime gloom. Ryota stormed behind me, letting every footstep vibrate through the floor, up the doorframe into the foundation of the building itself. He was enjoying himself, maybe a little too much. He was waiting for this moment, I think. The students that he carved to pieces might have pleased him temporarily, but this night, this would be his magnum opus, and he'd want to relive it 1,000 times over. He grinned with confidence as he cupped his hands around his mouth. And the delinquent arrives at last. I shuffled further into the classroom, squinting into the darkness of the furthest corners, my breath shallow and my palms sweaty. In the meantime, Ryota pushed up his sleeves and tossed his keys and phone on top of his desk. That was when I saw Rui. Wait. Tossed his keys and phone on top of his desk. There was one thing that I'd overlooked. The mole in the police. No matter how quickly and secretly Shigure might act, there's still a high chance that she'll be found out. After all, it only took a few minutes for the mole to relay the news to Ryota. This time shouldn't be any different. Any time now, a phone call could warn Ryota, tell him to get away, and that would be the end. It doesn't matter if I manage to distract him with this game. It's not like he'll ignore a phone call from his accomplice. In that case, I need to get rid of that phone. I have a pipe in my hand, and I'm just a step away from the desk. The main problem is breaking it without Ryota noticing, or, if he does notice, he won't think I'm knowingly sabotaging him. Hello, Urtayama Ishimoto. What, is this a little too much for you? My voice catches and squeaks, which makes me sound exceedingly helpless. That's a good thing. Ryota giggles quietly, but his eyes are narrowed. No, they still look like they're crying. This must be a little rough. Do you feel like you're hitting your poor sister? I wouldn't worry. She's already dead. You know that. I grip the pipe tighter, my knuckles whitening with pressure. The rough edges of the metal start to cut into the palm of my hand. I welcome the anger, the panic, the helplessness that's swirling through my blood, gathering it into one tangled ball of black emotion. Must still be sour for you, kid, no? Would you rather hit the little boy? Shut up. Yama, please don't listen to him. Come to think of it, you might have some fun if you had the boy. You'd finally get an outlet for all that self-hatred. Yama, he's just trying to get to you. You can fight it. Oh. Goodness, he's doing scary eyes. Shut up, you bitch. With a frightening speed, he bounds across the classroom and seizes Rui by the hair, yanking backward until her neck is at an unnatural angle. That kind of messes up the scene a little. Yeah. You know, I liked you at first, but now you're just a little yapping dog. I should slit your throat right now. Feed your esophagus to that brat over there. He gestures to the boy who's fastened to the chair, where he makes an instinctive whimper deep in her throat. Do we have an understanding? Yes. Do we have an understanding, you blathering whore? Why is she a whore? Yes. Wait, why all of a sudden is Ruri a hoe now? Out of curiosity. What did she do to make her hoish? Whorish. Something locks in my brain and all my emotions drain away until I feel like an empty automation. You shouldn't have touched her. My vision blurs with rage as I raise the pipe with both hands, my arms shaking. Cold, everything feels so cold. The edges of my lips pull up into an unbidden smile as a fleeting vision passes before my eyes. Ryota's body, battered and broken at my feet, waiting for me to make an imprint. I seize the vision. Even in a deeper part of my mind shrinks away in horror. I let it control me. You shouldn't have touched Rui Hayata. I slam the pipe down as much force as possible. The metal pulses against the floor with an ear-splitting crack. Splinters of something white and shiny shoot away from the point of impact like a spray of bullets. The boy and the girl shrink back in their chairs, staring at me with wide eyes. It's irrelevant. Get away from her. I let my voice increase in volume. I let it shake. I let it steep with madness and fury. Ryota steps back inadvertently, not out of fear, but out of surprise. He almost seems pleased with my transformation. I lunge forward, my voice exploding shrilly out of my throat. Whoa, he got very up there, didn't he? Get away. Get away from her or I'll kill you. I start swinging the pipe madly, like an unbalanced marionette on a string, letting the ends swivel into a desk, chairs, walls, anything. I rushed at Ryota, but he nimbly weaves between the desks and tightens the grip on his own pipe. My pipe passes within an inch of Rui's face as I whirl around, bowling in Ryota's direction towards the desk. I vaguely register a look of open horror from Rui, but I flick it away from my mind like a gnat. I lunge at Ryota with a full force blow, swinging down, letting out a vicious scream. And just as I was hoping, Ryota is startled by my sudden burst of energy and instinctively dodges to the side instead of blocking my blow. My pipe slices downward and splits the polished surface of the teacher's desk, sending shards of wood flying. The impact rattles up my arms and into my skull, but most importantly, I've hit Ryota's phone dead center. It shatters into the new pile of rubble, the resulting crackle masked by the destruction. I don't dare to take a pause. I can't celebrate this small victory. Instead, I let my anger fester and take hold of the pipe in my hands. I'll kill you right here, Ryota. I swing again at him and he steps back, adjusting the grip on his pipe. He's getting ready to counterattack. The momentum in my arms carries my weapon straight into the wall, sending the plaster cracking. I let loose a scream of frustration, something that rips my throat raw and ricochets against the broken wall. From the corner of my periphery, I can register Rui clasping her hands. Yama, please stop. Is that the best you've got, kid? You still haven't landed a single hit on this old man. Well, Ryota, we're not really trying to hit you. We succeeded in breaking the phone. I don't let myself think. I just swing the pipe unblinkingly at his head, knowing that it won't hit. And Ryota drops down, just as I suspect. His eyes widen with glee, and he swings his own pipe with one hand and... Oh. That had to hurt. My stomach suddenly lurches back against my spine with a piercing hammer of agony. I'm sent sprawling to the ground and Rui screaming faintly in my ears. Yama! And then the coldness, the numbness, the emptiness, it all melts away, and I suddenly feel weary, like every footstep is being pulled through mud. The bowl of pent-up aggression in my gut is replaced with a pounding soreness from the impact of Riota's pipe. For a moment I let myself lie there, splinters of wood and plaster prickling into my back. It'd be so easy to just close my eyes and sleep, let the whole world drift away. Get up, boy. The game's not over yet. Unless you mean to forfeit. That's right. I can't forfeit because there are other lives on the line. That's what I came here for. To help those other people. To save some lives. I start to push myself up, but my abdomen clenches in pain. I gracefully fall back to the ground, my back stinging from tiny daggers of fragments embedded into the ground. So, no forfeit? Pity. I turn onto my side and try again. This time, I lean on the remains of the desk, cradling an arm against my aching stomach. Where was that energy from a split second ago? Why am I suddenly so tired? Guess I tend to charge ahead when I have a purpose, and without that purpose I just run on a broken engine. I needed to break the phone. Now I've broken it. What's left? Wait? How long? When will Shigure come? Cute playboy, I see what you're trying to do. My veins fill with dread, and it takes every ounce of self-control for me to not cast a glance at the buried phone. Unfortunately for you, noise isn't an issue. You can throw a tantrum all day and no one will hear a thing. The new curfew keeps kids in the dorm court. No one's going to take a stroll around the classrooms and they could be playing foosball in the common room. Of all things, why foosball? I don't have the energy to respond. I don't even feel my face move. Gradually, the cold, welcoming emptiness in my mind is dissipating, replaced with the creeping sense of utter what? Something dark, black, something that feels like it's squeezing my temples and smothering my nostrils until I can't breathe. Well, that was an interesting intermission. Must be my turn again, no? He weighs the pipe casually in his hands, like he's adjusting his hold on the baseball bat, and lifts it over his shoulder. I only register his words when he steps forward, sliding closer to the boy's side. Suddenly, past the bolt of pain in my diaphragm, I'm screaming, "No!" "Wah!" is what he says. Oh, and that noise again. I automatically close my eyes at the moment of impact, but that doesn't make the crunch of his collapsing bone any less loud. Ryota struck the boy's hand this time. I keep my eyes off of it, scared at witnessing the damage for myself, but judging by the boy's shocked fear, it's just as bad as it sounds. Please, don't hurt him. Oh, I wouldn't worry if I were you. You'll be getting your fair share of the pain. She groans at this, loud and anguished, bubbling in her throat like a clot of blood. Breaking the phone wasn't enough. There has to be more, something else I can do. Are you enjoying this? A filler as my mind scrambles for something more adequate. Why, yes I am. Thanks for asking. And you've enjoyed the previous students? They were alright, but this little show has been the best by far. It's like playing chess against a toddler versus playing chess against a rival. One just doesn't bring that satisfying challenge, you know? I can't feel good about pulling a checkmate on a little kid who's not even potty trained. He's becoming more talkative, taking his focus off the game, even if it's just a little bit. I seize this with desperation. Maybe they were more of a challenge than you thought. I figured you out, just from the clues that they dropped. At this bold claim, Ryota tilts his head like a broken doll. I see the deranged gears in his head picking up speed ever so slowly, because Ryota doesn't like games with only pain and suffering and injury. Ryota likes to think. Ryota is intelligent. Ryota would look for a battle of wits just as readily. Even this pipe game, it's a twisted mix of sadism and psychology. His mind clashing against mine, trying to make me succumb to his methods. Maybe there's a way to pique his interest and bring the floor back into balance. It's the last hope I have. You always were a sharp kid, weren't you? I had high expectations for you, but you've exceeded every one of them. You deserve a gold star. I hope you know that a gold star isn't exactly a great incentive at this moment. Oh, but I read that positive reinforcement is better than punishment, particularly when it comes to children. To be fair, I always thought of it as a ruse. Punishments gets results. You just need to look at history to realize that. It's because of whips and taskmasters that the ancient pyramids and the great terracotta army were built. Meanwhile, what has modern humanity done? Skyscrapers? What a beauty do those hold? Like glorified prisons, cages of metal and glass meant to trap in pathetic little animals. Is that what you consider success? Building something big? Some people just prefer happiness. Happiness, what a subjective measure of reality. At least impressive structures are tangible. They're made of strong material, carved to loom above the common populace. When you look up, you realize the depth of man's insignificance. Happiness. What can measure happiness? How many smiles I send per day? Oh, let's not forget the first world dream. Living in a mansion with a Ferrari and 1,000 servants. Nothing brings happiness, but so much brings awe. This is just a meaningless stall for time, but I'll take it. He's starting to warm up, and weirdly enough, so am I. Maybe happiness is subjective, but awe, does it really bring fulfillment? Doesn't it? Haven't you ever stood on the precipice of a great chasm and just thought, oh, I could just die happy at this moment? It's an unparalleled feeling in the world, child. You seem to be regarding me with skepticism. Then pray tell, what's your opinion? What makes you happy in this foolish little world? What makes me happy? Go for Mecker. Something about the question seems to be a trap. Is he waiting for something to use against me? Is it time for another layer of psychological warfare? My friends. I could say my friends make me happy. Then he points out how none of them were here, how I've endangered the only one who mattered, how friends are simply an arbitrary term for a circle of useless acquaintances. All I would feel is despair. Then what else could I offer as an answer? Being alive? Being alive to do what? Feel and experience everything that life has to offer? Then Ryota would say that if the gift of life is enough to bring happiness, then everyone should always be happy. The slave beneath a whip, the trafficked girl in the brothel, the prisoner of war on the rack. And again, I would only feel despair. What makes me happy? What fuels me to get up in the morning and keep going? Altruism? Hardly. I think that most people in the world are pretty stupid and don't deserve to live. Love? Yeah, as if I'm a fountain of affection. What is there to fuel me? What makes me happy? Visual novels. Anything that I think of, I know the real they can warp and use against me. He'll try to break me with my own words. Oh, have I been caught? A shame we had to meet under these circumstances, child. Your mental faculties are truly impressive. Do you understand the theme of my lecture? I can't say I do. Will there be a study guide? You're already in the test, boy. I'm afraid it's too late. Simply put, he who has the most drive has the most strength, and he who has the most strength has the most power. Look at you. You can't even tell me what makes you happy, whereas I gave you a confident answer. Why do you suppose you are so powerless, while here I stand, invincible? He even took my lack of an answer and used it against me. I tried to tell myself that it was the right decision. Are you saying that you won? I'm just reporting facts. But even if I'm weaker, I can still beat you. Alright, we'll stop here for this episode. I guess I'll see you next time. Where if we could actually get out of this alive and have a happy ending. Or not. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. I'm tatocat. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.